In today's video, I am showing off all the polishing touches I've been adding to my game called Fight Poker that I've been making in C++ and OpenGL. This is all in preparation for a first public playtest of the game, and I'm excited to show off what I've been working on. One of the first things I did was fixing a bug from the old system, as originally you could push play again and it would work perfectly fine. However, when I changed the system and made the server multi-threaded and support multiple games, it stopped working. So the first thing I did was fix that, and what I did is I just added a system when the game completes, it will delete itself from the server's list of games, and it does this by the game manager sending a function pointer to the game object, which calls it whenever the game's complete. So after that, the next thing I wanted to add was a way for users to add their name. So what I did here is when you open up your settings page, this little text box will come up, and you can just start typing and will appear in the text box for your name. And you can have up to 12 characters, and the way it works is it uses GFLW's get characters, which allows you to type any key on your keyboard, and it also picks up shifts and caps locks for capital letters. And then from there, whenever you type that, I store it in this variable, and then I can use that variable later whenever I update the scene for the settings. And then I also add special code for the backspace so that you can delete characters. However, right now the name doesn't do anything, so the next thing I worked on was changing that. So now when you enter a name in settings, it saves it to your game as your name, and then which is a array of 12 jars. And when you push play, it will send that name to the server. And once your opponent does the same, and the server has both names, it will send your opponent's name to each player. And then instead of displaying you and opponent like we did in the past, it now displays your name and the opponent's name, so you can actually see who you're playing against. And right now, in settings, if you don't enter a name, it'll just stick with anonymous. Alright, so the next thing we did is I added this screen here called Enter Your Name, which will launch when you first open the game. And as you can see here, it's the same code as the setting, it just allows you to type a name. And the second thing I was working on is, as you can see here, this client right now, it's going to disconnect. So I'm going to push play, it says we're waiting, shows our name was disconnect, and then I close the program. And then I'm going to launch a second one in just 1 second, and I'll name this one Carbone Dev, and I'll push play. And you see it's waiting. And normally, before this, it would have queued up a game with the original person, but since they disconnected, now it won't. So then I'm adding a third person, and this will be a, I don't know, C++ dev. And then once this person pushes play, it'll start a game because Carbone Dev didn't disconnect. And the way this works is whenever a player joins, we first check to see which players are still in the lobby but aren't connected to the server anymore, which means they disconnected, and it will remove any of those players before trying to find a match. And then the way we do that enter your name screen is it uses all the same code from the settings. It's just if it's the first time it's been launched, it will change the background to show enter your name, and will show next instead of back. Alright, and the final thing I did was add this big feature that adds a timer to the matches. So now whenever you're playing a match, if both sides haven't played a card in 8 seconds, it'll show this timer for both players, which starts to count down, also starting at 8, going to 0. And once this timer hits 0, the server just moves on to the next attack phase and will force enter both players. And the point of this system is, one, it gives each match a maximum time, as if both players play their cards, it'll be about a minute, and then it waits 8 seconds. But the other important thing is if someone disconnects midway through a match, it'll just always time them out, and then you will just play against whatever they played last, and they won't be able to play new cards. It also adds a fun little pressure when you're trying to play, and all of a sudden the time starts ticking down. And the way this works is normally the game thread just sleeps using a wait and just waits until the server sends them an input. However, now it uses a wait for, so it waits either 8 seconds or however long it takes for the server to send another message. And if it times out, then it will send all players a warning and it will restart the timer, but this time it won't stop if a message is sent. And it does this because every time a message is sent, it takes the time of the previous message minus the current time and then subtracts that from the next iteration. So if it's 8 seconds and then you send a message at, I don't know, 3 seconds, 0.25, then the next timer will only go for 4.75. And then once it does time out for a second time, it just continues the match to attack and resets all the timers. I wanted to get a first playtest of this out, as I had finished all the main features I wanted to have for a first playtest. However, I was trying to figure out the server and I could not get it to work, and it took me hours, so maybe next week I will post that. But if you're interested in seeing how I made this game multi-threaded in the first place, you should check out this video here. And until next time, see ya.